Well, hello there. It's Valerie Ling, clinical psychologist here, coming to you live on what is a very sunny and somewhat hot day. I think it is a very hot day. I wanted to take you on a little bit of a journey with a particular plant. You would think that I was an avid gardener with all this talk of plants that I've been doing. I'm actually not. I'm not very good at it. I don't know the first thing about it. I've been doing a lot of Googling recently about how to take care of my plants. But I started to think about my plants this week, or particularly today, because we're about to leave the house for a little bit, and I always wonder about how we are going to take care of all the living things in our home. We have had fish before that have had to survive when we've been away. I have a dog that has to be transported somewhere, and of course we have lots of lovely plants. Now I would like to show you this particular plant. I believe it is actually a tree. I can get my camera to turn. Ha! There it is. Is that a bit bright? Okay, this particular tree. You avid gardeners, you can tell me what this tree is. But I love this tree. This tree, when it is healthy and alive, it is a vibrant red. And it was strategically placed here because from our front door, there's a long passageway basically that runs all the way through the house, and wherever you are in that passageway, you just see this particular tree vibrant and red all the way from the corridor outside. Now, very sadly though, just come back to me now, I thought that this tree had died. I'm just going to move it out of the sun now. I thought it had died on one of those periods of time when we went away on one of our escapades, and maybe the sprinkler system didn't quite work or something didn't quite work out, but that poor little tree shriveled up to a brown crisp, and it made me feel very, very, very sad. And I thought, oh dear, we've been negligent. It was like my favorite tree. It was so beautiful, it's so unique, and now it's dead and gone. And there was talk about whether we would uproot it, but I just don't think I could bring myself to do that, and so we left it, and we might have done some things to try to revive it. I think we looked at the sprinkler system. Now the thing about where that tree is planted though is that the soil, I think, is not very rich and not very deep. It's fairly shallow. So my understanding is that you actually have to not only water that part of the garden very deeply, you've got to do it frequently, but you've also got to kind of understand the way that that part of the garden is made up in terms of its soil, how much fertilizing it needs, and tending to the weeds as well. And as I was thinking about how I was going to leave the plants in my house, I particularly thought about this tree because, lo and behold, it doesn't look dead, does it? Let me just come back to it. Have a look at it. Ta-da! It does not look dead. In fact, it came quite alive. It resurrected, as it were, because we had this loads. Oh, look at the naughty dog again in my study. He's really not supposed to be there. That's like one of the rules. He cannot go into my study. Jeez Louise. Okay. Yes, this tree resurrected because we had lots and lots of rainfall, and then my husband and I, this is very rare for me, spent some time in the garden together, and I actually felt a great sense of satisfaction as I ripped out all of the weeds in this part of the garden, and this tree came alive. So I wanted to just use this, I think, as a bit of an introduction or a deeper look at when you're thinking about revitalisation. What are the things that are going to keep you going? Sometimes we can only really think of one element, like this tree and the sprinkler system, but really we've got to look at the soil that we've embedded ourselves in, the health of our roots, how deeply our roots are going in, and that's why the idea of resources and resourcing is probably one of the best ways to think about burnout prevention work. All the different dimensions in your world and your life that resource you to go the distance. And so I'd encourage you, if you haven't already looked at it, just look at it. Just look at the course, the 6-week course that I'm running in February. You don't have to be a professional carer. You could just be feeling the wear and tear and the burn that you had in 2018, taking care of all your responsibilities, taking care of the people in your world, and then the last person you took care of yourself was yourself. Why not try something different this year and actually look at the soil that you're in, how richly nourished your roots are, and go for a revitalized 2019. The link will be at the bottom. Catch you later.